Next slide. We're all connected. That's the theme of today's class. I'm gonna jump around a little bit, and then we're gonna do something that I think will have some real value. But we are all connected. Okay, cool. First off, next slide. Last class we talked about Jews and Judaism. I just found out that Hillel is sponsoring a Shabbat dinner, interfaith Shabbat dinner. So the beginning, starting at 5:30. And Jews, is there like a Jewish time? Is it going to start at 5:30? It won't, because it's like Jewish time. Everybody has their time. Everybody thinks they have their own time, like Arab time and queer time and, Latino time and so on. White Gentile time is like, okay. Anyway, so it'll start a little bit after 5:30 probably. But nonetheless, not as if it was an Arab thing, it would start at about 10:30. But so it's a really, and I want to put this up here because if you have talked about Shabbat briefly last class, but first off, here's a really nice opportunity to get a free meal. So you gotta love that, right? And so if you're low on your meal points or you're tired of eating pizza or mac and cheese, then check it out. And the collaborative service, it's an interfaith service of sorts at 5:30, and then the potluck meal will be at 6:30. Okay, is that cool? So if you've never been to a Shabbat, if you really have no idea what it is, whether you're Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, Hindu, whatever the case, or Jewish, and you've never gone because you're a heathen, then here's an opportunity for you. Okay, cool? It's free. Everyone's welcome. Am I right? Everyone's entirely welcome. Okay. So next slide. So I want to say something. I'm going to speak to. First, I'm going to speak to the class. It's just something that I didn't get to last class, and I just feel really some kind of way about it. I just want to finalize that, and then we're going to move on. So first, take a look at this. Now, I know that most of you have most people of a certain age don't follow politics, really have no idea. You just know, hey, there's a lot of violence in the Middle East, and you hear this word Israel, and you hear Palestinians, and you just sort of like, oh, okay, well, what is this, and what's all the fighting about, and so on. I'm going to just give it to you very, very quickly. I just want you to see something, and then I want to talk to Jewish students in the class. So that's Israel right there. And when you hear Jews talk about kind of the importance of Israel and the fear that Israel has, we'll recognize that Israel is surrounded by countries, and sort of would be. It's the only Jewish country in the whole world. No matter where it was, it would be surrounded by countries that are not Jewish, and that have whose leaders have made statements as to the effect that Israel doesn't have a right to exist, which is, really pretty serious words. And so if you look at, we talk about all the Muslim countries kind of around Israel, and it's really, this is the thing that where Jews often, we had last class, right? So you remember what I talked about? So you can imagine Jews having a certain fear of this, and you imagine, of course, given what I talked about, the global history of anti-Semitism, to how Jews feel like, and many people feel, that Israel is extremely important as a place of protection for Jewish people and sanctuary. However, go to the next slide. So here is Israel here, okay? So when you think about Palestinians, what you're talking about are the people who are who live in the region, who are either Bedouins, maybe they really have no religion, or they're Muslims, or they're Christians. And when you hear about the Palestinian homelands, certainly many Palestinians, or most Palestinians, would say, well, the whole thing is a homeland. But nonetheless, this is the West Bank area, and this is Gaza, the Gaza Strip. So this is where there are many Arab, Christian, and Arab Muslims living in the state of Israel per se, right? Many, about 23%. But the West Bank and Gaza almost is entirely concentrated by Palestinians who are either Christian or Muslim, and the West Bank mostly, okay? But there are settlements in the West Bank. So what's happening is people are fighting over these lands, and who has control over these lands, okay? And so that's the battle, like who gets to control and who has to control. And so when you hear about the fighting and the warring, a lot of that is happening. So now I want to talk to Jews in the class for a second. And I'm not going to say everything I would say if it was only you. Can you go to the next slide? I'm not going to say everything I would say because it's not just you, but I just want to say something. Look, And I feel like I have to do this in fairness to Palestinians, because that's a photo that I have on my wall in my house. And go to the next one, bro. That's another photo. Go back. That's the Damascus Gates. It looks pretty much the same way today, minus the camel. This is the Damascus Gates. These are Arab Bedouin men eating hummus. The idea that many Jews have is that, listen, while the land, Jewish people, I'm going to speak to you. Many of you have this idea, and it's true, the land was not called Palestine, officially recognized by the UN, when the State of Israel was created, or 100 years ago today, by the way, the Balfour Declaration was signed 100 years ago today, which is pretty amazing in and of itself. However, there were people living in the region, and when new people come in, they're going to push out. All that land was owned by somebody. I mean, if it wasn't owned with a right of ownership, it was claimed by somebody, people who have been living there for centuries and centuries and centuries. Jews, Arabs, Bedouins, Christians, and so on. So one of the storylines that you all Jewish people have is that nobody was there. And that makes it a lot easier than to just put create Israel and put the Israeli flag on what is essentially somebody else's land. And most Jews who I know and I work with are very cognizant of that, and it's a very delicate issue. But many are not, and many live in this world that it's just their land and screw everybody else and kick them off the land, or they create stories. You all create stories that nobody was there, but people were there. And what I want to say is, peace is not going to come until everybody recognizes that there is a certain shared ownership to the land. And it's just the violence is very disproportionate, y'all, right? So keep that in mind. Okay, but we're done with that. Go to the next slide. So I want to do an activity right now, and this is a tombstone that I took. This is in a cemetery. It's a photo my wife took. It's a cemetery in Dublin, Ireland. And so this guy, the Reverend Canon William James Eric Dawson, and these are all his degrees. And it doesn't matter how many degrees you get, or if you get C's or B's or A's or D's or whatever, you're still going to die. So I just want to point that out. So you can get all the degrees you want. You can have a high GPA. Whatever it is, you're still going to be dead. So just like that dude. So look at all these. He was Chancellor of Waterford. Oh, my gosh. Died in Egypt. So we're all going to die. But that's not what I want to. That's not the message. So I want to tell you about something that might, at first it's going to seem like it's not related, but trust me, it is. So I read this book a few years ago, on resuscitation science. And does anyone know what I'm talking about when I say resuscitation science? Does anyone have any idea? What? Okay, so the issue is that a lot of medical doctors have started to realize, and this happened really largely as a result of the first Persian Gulf War and then the Iraq War, realizing that how many advancements have taken place in the world of science and medicine and our ability to keep people alive. So, you want to invest your energy and your resources in the world of science and medicine. What do? There are lots of things you can do. You can just try to stop diseases. You can try to cure diseases. You can do any number of things. But these people they looked around and they started counting up all of the soldiers who, if they had fought in Vietnam War or World War II or some earlier war, would have died, but because of advancements in medicine, they didn't die. They actually were saved. So this is why one of the things you see now, we see so many veterans coming back from Afghanistan and Iraq and other parts of the world with visible wounds. So missing a leg. I had a vet in class last semester who had lost his leg in Afghanistan, missing an arm, various wounds and disabilities that, had they been in the Vietnam War, would have died, and so we wouldn't have seen them. But now we start to see it, so these advances, right? So the medical world started to say, wait a minute, instead of spending all of our energy and all of our money on disease control and learning better ways to operate and so on, what if we actually spent some money on keeping people alive? once they die, what if we like found ways to do whatever we need to do to keep their body in a stable state until we can get to the place where we can intervene and actually save their lives, okay? So you can actually, we've developed techniques, as if I'm part of this, but we've developed techniques where you can do, you can put someone on a blood machine, pump them full of oxygenated blood, keep them on a respirator. They can put them on ice, their body on ice, so they are technically dead for up to, I think the record is almost like 2 hours. So they're dead, but they can keep the body in such a state that they can eventually do whatever they need to do to bring them back to life. So it's like, whoa, that's amazing. Is that amazing? Dude, is that amazing? Imagine 2 hours. Somebody dead for 2 hours, and we bring them back to life, and they have no notable body or brain damage. And mind you, cells start to break down within a nanosecond after the body dies, after you stop breathing and the heart stops pumping. So that's pretty amazing. Is that cool? So here's what's happened, though. All these people, more and more and more people are starting to come back to life. And they started to report all of these experiences that they had in the past. And they had while they were dead. And people, we always hear the stories, right? How many of you, has anyone had a near death? Has anyone died, by the way? Anybody died? You died? How long were you dead? Wait. You broke your neck? Dude, yeah? Wait, anybody else? She the only one? So, dude, it's not, hang on. So you died. Do you know how long you were?
No, I was 16 and they won't talk to me about it.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Do you remember? You don't have any idea how long you were dead technically?
No.
So your heart stopped beating, you stopped breathing?
I don't know if it stopped beating, but it was
pretty bad?
It was kind of reckless.
Do you remember anything from the experience?
Well, I remember the accident. Like I was in a car accident and then I was shipped to the hospital.
Okay, but you don't remember anything beyond that till you sort of woke back up?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so listen. So here's what happens. More and more people, you hear the stories, right? Somebody died, they say, yeah, I saw a white light, I this, I that. I mean, anybody, I don't know, who knows, right? And you get the story, you get this. You've heard the stories, right? Have you heard the stories? Have you heard the stories? Okay, so people die. It's very common. Every culture has this. Everybody talks about it. But what we're seeing is that more and more people are reporting to the medical establishment, these are scientists, right? That, hey, I started to have all these cool experiences and really interesting. And then these people started to put all the pieces together and realizing, wait a minute, we actually need to study this. And not only do we need to study it, but we can control for lots of factors so that we can really try to find out as best as we can what happens to people after they die. So where do we go? And you never know because we never have any idea because, you die, you stop breathing and, the heart stops pumping and the body produces these chemicals and maybe the chemicals are what lead to the things. I mean, who really knows? But they start talking to people and realizing, whoa, we're having these really, really interesting experiences and hearing some really interesting stories. And I'm not talking dozens of people. I'm talking thousands and thousands of people, okay? And so they start controlling for lots of things because you got to control. You want to make sure you're comparing apples to apples and not apples to oranges and stuff, right? You got it? So you want to control what their prior belief systems were. You want to control how bad the damage was, how long they were dead, what they, you get it, right? You got it? Okay, where they were, how they were, et cetera. So you want to compare the people who had similar experiences, okay? Now, I want to tell you what the findings are, but first I just need a couple people. Are there any Buddhists? Are any Buddhists here, by the way? Who's a Buddhist? Dude, seriously, there aren't any? Wait, hang on. Seriously? There are no Hindu. Give me a Hindu. Who's a Hindu? Okay, can you come here a second? Christian. I need a Christian. I want a hardcore Christian, not like I'm a Christian, but I drink all week long. Bro, hardcore? Drinking and sodomy are my favorite pastimes, but I'm a Christian. Muslim. I need someone who's Jewish, by the way. Who's Jewish? I need a Jew. I need a Jewish person. I need a Muslim. Can I get a Muslim, please? Can we get a bro? Wait, are you Muslim? Wait, are you Muslim? Yeah, go ahead. No, come down. Wait, what are you though? Oh, Jewish. All right, come on down, bro. You're Muslim, right? Oh, you're Jewish? Nah, I got a Jew. I need a Muslim. Who's Muslim, bro? Come on, my Omani guy. Well, I need an atheist. I need a hardcore. Are you a hardcore atheist? Wait, you're a bisexual and an atheist, dude. Okay, got it. Hey, that's even better. Oh, so are you? Seriously? Okay, you come up too. All right. Wait, hang on. Now let me use her. You were already up here. All right, and I need, who do I have? Wait, I have Jewish, Christian, Hindu, atheist, bisexual, Muslim. Who else do I need? Are we good? Hey, wait, are there any Palestinians here? Anybody of Palestinian ancestry? Who's got Palestinian blood? Seriously? Anybody? Yeah, okay. Is that you? Come on down then. Spiritual but not religious. Just spiritual and not religious. Who's that? Yeah. Come on, who's that? All right, you're on. Wait, bro, you too. Wait, do we have any white supremacists here? All right, this will be good enough, all right? So here, I'll be a white supremacist for a day, right? I'm supremely white. So, okay, so look, here's the deal. Wait, so we have spiritual, that's just, okay, that's good. You look, okay. Agnostic, okay, that's good enough. So here's the deal. So they start talking to all these people. And these people start reporting what happened to them when they died. Okay? Cool? And here's what they say. There's some kind, and this is almost across the board, okay? There's some kind of energy. They can't really put their finger on it, but there's some kind of energy. It's not like a singular God. It's not an articulated, embodied God, like we are. But there's some kind of energy there, okay? It doesn't speak to them, but they know what it's saying. It communicates. They communicate with this energy. It's like a weird Star Trek thing, but they communicate with the energy. Okay, cool? Almost everybody reports this. Almost everybody reports that it feels really, really good. That they don't want to come back. They want to stay there. So y'all, my friends, you don't have to be afraid of death. When I say we're all going to die, your response should be, thank goodness. Because everybody who dies and comes back to life reports an amazing, they don't want to come back. And people report across the board that they see some kinds of relatives there. It's not as though they even see them, but it's like these forces, this energy forces, okay, of relatives. A common thing that people report, you all, who are one day going to die, so many of you will have this experience that I'm about to tell you, which is really interesting. What's that?
Thank goodness.
Yeah, thank goodness. Exactly, dude. Exactly. Okay. Here you go. You ready? This being that is unarticulated, but nonetheless is this energy force, encourages them in some way. Got it? And I'm saying it like this, because people can't put their finger on it, but this is how they say, encourages them in some way to do an assessment, a retrospective assessment of their entire life, and this is really intense, reflect on all of the wrongs that they did throughout their lives. So the Judeo-Christian perspective of Jews, Christians, Muslims kind of maybe are onto something there, and maybe where they got that from in the philosophy, because this is very much a Judeo-Christian philosophy, the Abrahamic tradition, right? that maybe it comes from people who had died already, but there's this almost like this retrospective. It's like encouraged to look back over my life, see all the bad things that I've done to people, and expunge them and feel good about it. And the whole time, this being, this unarticulated being, they report. They report. Not one person, but report. This is systematic. People being interviewed very carefully. They report feeling encased in this sense of love, and it's like it's okay. That's really intense, right? Is that really intense? Here's the thing, you all. You ready? This is the only thing you need to know in a race and ethnic relations class. All the stuff we talk about, whether it's white people or black and brown people or Muslims or Christians or Donald Trump or whoever, have no idea, anybody. Here's the main thing. Every person, regardless of their background, regardless of their belief systems, whether they're atheists, whether they're agnostics, whether they're Muslims, whether they're Hindus, Christians, or Jews, every person reports the same thing. Whether they're Israelis living in Israel or Palestinians living in Gaza, or whether they're white supremacists waving the Confederate flag or peace marchers waving the peace flag, whether they are Muslims or atheists, whether they're Hindus or Muslims, it doesn't matter. Everybody reports the same thing. Meaning that, as best as we can ascertain, you all, as best as we can ascertain, we're all going to the same place. Got it? So, dude, hang on. Come down here. Stand next to your sister right here. The Omani Muslim and the Jewish woman, brother, sister, right here. You got it? And the Christian right here. Got it? Hardcore Christian. Come here, lesbian, atheist, bisexual atheist. All right. The Christian and the bisexual atheist are going to the same place. Because these folks aren't lying, y'all. Maybe they are. Maybe they all got it wrong. But it sounds like they're going to the same place. It's the best we know. And the Hindu and the spiritual guru all going to the same place, y'all, right? White, black, brown, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. You got it? And so when you stop and you take that in, and we look across the room, across the world, across wherever, and we think about our enemies, and we think about our allies, and we think the one thing, the one question that nobody can fully answer, where do we go when we die? The best we can possibly do is find people who have died, have been brought back to life, and can report on what their experiences were. And the damn thing is, anywhere we go in the world, whatever their thought systems are, they're all saying the same thing. And what does that say about us in this world where we're fighting with each other over really silly, crazy things? Democrats and Republicans, a Trump voter, a Clinton voter, like whatever. In the end, you're going to the same place. This thing that people respond to as God, whatever that God is, whatever you believe or don't believe, right? God is like, what is God? God's like a tree.
There's a higher
Wait, hang on.
I was going to say, I think there's a higher being, but I wouldn't necessarily say it's like there's heaven or there's a specific God. I think there's just one God for everybody.
Yeah.
Kind of.
So God, but God is like the trees and the
could
clouds.
be anything.
Okay,
We have spirits.
A fish, a
I
goldfish.
think. Yeah.
I had a goldfish once that I thought was God. Kept talking to me. Of course, it was always after I smoked a little bit of that. And then suddenly it was talking, and then, I don't know. I'm thinking, what are you saying? Okay, I got you. All right. Hey, how many gods are there in Hinduism, by the way? Like 5 million or something?
Yeah, a lot. I don't know the count.
Can you name? How many can you name?
Okay. Do you want me to name them?
No, how many do you think you could name?
More than 20.
More than 20, and there's
Yeah.
about 1 million, right?
Yeah.
What kind of a Hindu are you? All right. So, just what's your name, by the way?
And Malika?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So, am I right? 20, 22 out of 1 million. Like, come on. It begs the question, does it? Like, what kind of a Hindu are you? All right. So anyway, one who's going to die and probably have the same experience as everybody else. Dude, can you just sit with that for a second? Like, that's pretty serious. Like, I don't know what we're battling with all the time. If that's it, if that's where we're going. Whew. Dude, what do you think about the fact that the bisexual atheist, you and the bisexual atheist might be hanging out in heaven together, you the Christian? Like, what do you think about that?
Despite the stereotype about Christians, I actually do respect atheist, bisexual people. So it's not that foreign a concept to me that we're all going to attain the same salvation because it's what God wants in the end. So.
Okay. All right, that's cool. All right. Not all Christians would say that, by the way.
Yeah, I know. It kind of annoys me sometimes because even though like I tell people like I'm totally Christian, like I sleep, eat, and like live Jesus, they're like, but you respect gay people. I'm like, well, yeah, I respect everyone.
Yeah, I got ya. Dude. Cool. And Jesus hung around with like 12 men, you know what I mean? So like,
Well, he hung out with everyone.
I know, I did, but one woman and 12 men, you gotta wonder. All right, dude. Sorry, I'm just teasing Christians. It's all good. We're good, right? And you're Jewish?
Yeah.
So what do you think about, like, here's the Muslim guy, right? Imagine he's Palestinian. Are you like, he looks dude, you're Palestinian right now. How do you feel? What's that like?
I'm honestly probably the worst Jew to bring up here because I don't care. Like, it doesn't matter to me. That doesn't bother me at all, whatever he is.
Yeah,
whatever.
that's cool. Cool, man. Dude, we're like rocking. And you? You're like, what kind of a Muslim
I
are
judge
you?
people by
Do you
their
pray?
actions.
Do you pray?
Yeah, I do pray.
Every day? 5 times?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I got you. Yeah. While you're home. Exactly.
I just remember I told my aunt that she's a big fan of you and she could be watching.
Okay. Dude, I seen this guy. He was praying right before class. I saw him with his prayer rug laid out, like doing his, yeah, I got you. All right, man. Okay, cool. Got it? And are you really an atheist? Yeah. Hardcore? And you're really bisexual?
Yes,
All
Iris
right.
can confirm.
Oh, I was
She
gonna
is
ask,
friends with me and everything.
Okay, all right.
Also, I probably have Tinder matches in here that can confirm as well.
Oh, yeah? All right. Okay. Dude. All right, good. Atheist, bisexual. All right, good. All right, man, listen. That's it. That's all you need to know. Thanks, everybody. All right. Dude. Tinder matches. Dude, I still got to get you a date, right? You need to get a date with a white guy. Dude, Niche is still looking for a date with a white guy, all right? All right, here we go. Let's move on. All right, bro. Can we take a second here? So right before last class, this happened, and a number of people have been asking me what I think about this, and I want to. I'm going to actually not speak I'm going to speak first off just personally, and then I'm going to speak as a sociologist, and from a larger perspective of this class. And what I want to say is, so this guy here, he's from Uzbekistan, and it's called Uzbek. Drove a truck into the bike path in New York City, killed 8 people and wounded fairly seriously a number of others. The irony, not the irony, I don't know what I have no idea, right? Listen, you know, one of the messages in this class, just like up here, so I know that some of you have really strong religious beliefs, and I know that some of you are saying, for example, well, Sam, you can do that, you can say that, and you can bring people up there, but the truth is, we're not going to the same place. We're going to different places, and the bisexual atheist or the whoever and the Muslim and the Jew and the Hindu, whatever, they're not going, or they're whoever, we're not going to the same place. That's okay, you can take that in, that's fine. So the data don't appear to show, the best we can possibly get in the data don't appear to indicate that to be true. So you just have to go out and wrestle with your own sense of what is right and wrong and what is true. In this case, so I just want to, let me just speak as me. This is, I talk about empathy in here a lot. And I talk about empathy toward Muslims a lot because we are currently in a period in the United States when anti-Muslim sentiment is really, really strong. And so, therefore, I generally am always trying to get people, if everybody's swimming downstream, to swim upstream. Or if everybody's hating on something, like everybody's hating on Donald Trump, that I'm going to come and support Donald Trump. Or I'm going to come up with reasons why. And whatever it is, I'm going to try to temper it a little bit. So you hear me often talking about Muslims and Islam, and we've done a few classes, and we're going to do another one before the end of the semester. But this guy, like me trying to demonstrate empathy and understanding is not demonstrating empathy toward this guy. There's not, once you engage in violence at any level, you're done. You can't, you're done. It's over. Like, you can't support that. So in case you're wondering, I don't look at this guy and say, well, we need to really try to understand where he's coming from, or maybe, no, I don't have any of that. Like, that's it. You absolutely can't. It doesn't mean I don't want to understand how it is that people get radicalized, although it seems from what people are saying, this guy had actually some mental health issues as well that allowed him to get radicalized. So the degree to which the mental health issues and a radical ideology came together seemed that they sort of converged in a way, right? Saying that, look, you want to understand how people like him are created, how it is that human beings like this guy can make the decision to get in a truck and kill people. That's very different than saying, look, this poor guy or this guy went through something or his people did or whatever. That's completely different. Those are two different realities. So I'm saying this so you don't get confused about where I stand or where I think we should stand as a class or as a society. That understanding what turns people in this direction is what many advanced scholars and people all throughout our military and our law enforcement entities and systems are doing every single day. So we will probably have a conversation, for example, with the guy, the Lieutenant Colonel Bill Edmonds, who wrote that article that you read for the last quiz. So Bill is currently living in the UK as a lieutenant colonel in the Army Special Forces, doing work to understand you heard me say this, understand how it is that guys, to people like this, can make these kinds of deadly decisions. But understanding doesn't mean supporting or doesn't mean pampering these folks or him, right? It's a very different thing. It also doesn't mean condemning all people, because when you condemn all people, you simply alienate. And when you alienate, then people build walls around themselves. And I'll give you a perfect example. After the Sandusky scandal in the United States, Penn State students, my students, everywhere people went and wore their Penn State gear, people were attacking them. So this was in the fall semester. And then everywhere they went, people would say things about Penn State, say things about them, say really negative, nasty things. And people's response to that was not to cower, right? Not to get small and say, yeah, you're right. Even though none of them, everybody was just completely stunned by this horrific scandal that hit Penn State and what had happened. But the response by the vast majority of people who just a week before or a couple weeks before were just walking through their Penn State lives, doing their thing. Their response when people started calling them out just for being a student at Penn State was to get emboldened and to respond in really negative ways, like F you. Like, yeah, I'm at Penn State. My students were reporting more people were going out and buying Penn State gear and wearing Penn State gear who had never bought or worn Penn State gear before. And wherever they went, they would make sure back home, whether it was Philly or Washington or California or Texas, everywhere they went, they were reporting, I wore my Penn State gear, just waiting for someone to come at me with this anti-Penn State stuff. So you see, what happens is you attack people, they get more emboldened. Even when maybe you think in the Sandusky thing, like, okay, well, or whatever. So here, what we are understanding, and people who are like my colleague in the Special Forces, who is at the peak of the military, he is at the top of the military system of understanding what it is that makes somebody like this and why they do it and how we can stop them. His main goal is to understand and not attack. And surely you do not attack all people of a particular population. So just like what happened at Penn State, you attack all people and all people start to get emboldened when in fact they don't even care. People didn't even care. I never had a Penn State sweatshirt in my life. Till people started attacking Penn State, and now I start wearing Penn State sweatshirts. So I don't really think anything about Islam or Christianity or whatever until people start attacking it, and then I come at them. You see what I mean, right? You got that? And so this is what I'm talking about of understanding, but understanding is not like soft pedaling. I don't know what to do with this. He'll never see the light of day, obviously, and he'll probably get the death penalty. And like, okay. I don't think one thing or another about that. You hear that, right? Do you hear that? So you understand that I'm always talking empathy, empathy, empathy. That doesn't mean it's empathy for this guy or people who commit or want to commit these kinds of things, which we have to stop. It's really dangerous. You got to stop. I feel as much, probably less fear, but I feel a lot of fear. And so it's really, really, really troubling. So what I want to do is I want to walk us through some things about what we know and how we know and just kind of give you some stuff to sit with, okay? All right, dude. You've all heard of this, right? You've all heard that. Guns. How many of you are gun owners? How many gun owners in class? So, Sartini, you're a gun owner? All right. Of course you are. All right. So you hear this, right? It's true. Is it not true? Guns don't kill, people kill. Like, come on, violent people kill with guns. The gun doesn't pick itself up and kill somebody. Violent people kill. Guns don't kill. Okay? Are we good with that? That's just a given. That's like this mantra of the NRA that started 30 years ago, and it's as true today as it was back then. Okay? Next slide. How's it different? Islam doesn't kill. Violent Muslims kill. Like, how's it different? And one of the things that I would say is, look, here's the problem. When you take an entire population of people and you put them together and you isolate them and you treat them in particular ways, expect a response that you don't want. And what I know of people who are working on these issues, for example, in the military, at high levels of law enforcement, in the FBI, and so on, not in Donald Trump's cabinet, but people who are really busy with this, it's like, look, the more you do that, the more you create problems. And so it's just like Christians. Remember the slide I gave last class? How many deaths were there by Christians in the 20th century? 102 million people died at the hands of Christians. So, no, Christianity doesn't kill, violent Christians kill. It's the same thing. So, in a class like this, it's really important to hold that. To hold that. It's so easy. Can you go back a slide, bro? No, go back to the guy, actually. It's so easy. Listen, man. It's so easy to hate this guy, right? Hey, make sure on your way out you see Lauren, okay? Lauren. So, it's so easy to hate this guy. It's so easy, man. And you can't, that's fine. I mean, whatever. How can you not? Look, okay. I don't have I'm like you. I don't hold a particular religious ideology. But I know many people who do are like, no, it doesn't matter what he does. We have to love him. God told us we have to love him. Well, I don't believe that. So I can hate this guy. It's easy for me. It's fine, right? Many of you can't. If you're following your religious beliefs, you still can't hate this guy because God told you not to hate. It's in that little book that you read. And so you can't do it. So sorry, I can. We can't. You and I can because we don't believe in that book, but you don't. But it's easy to hate this guy. It's also easy to hate everybody like him. It's really easy. And when you listen to the media and you listen to people talking and you listen to the hotheads and the loudmouths and people throwing it all together, it's really, really, really easy to just start throwing the hate all around. All Muslims or all those people or all whatever. It's really, really easy. It's like, no, man. No. You got to resist that. It's just like black people. It's really easy to hate all the racist cops. If I had $1 for every time I heard a black person talk about the racist police, I'd be rich. It's like, no, it's easy. You can see the stories. You can get it, or anybody. It doesn't just have to be black, but you got to resist it because the vast, vast, vast majority of police aren't racist, and they're not violent. And they do stand up, and they do stop the harm everywhere. And so that's what it is. This guy, go ahead, just direct your hate at him. If you need to hate, direct it at him. But not everybody like him. It's easy to do. But it takes an intellectual shift to not do it. And that's what this is, because you understand, somebody else will hate you. Because you Americans in here, do you know how many, listen, do you know how many innocent people in the Middle East have been killed by U.S.-made bombs just in the past month? Children, women, elderly. Do you have any idea how much hate people have for you? Because their 2 sons died, their 2 two-year-old daughters died, their mother died by a U.S. bomb just last week or the week before. Now people are sending all this hate toward you. And you don't even know about it, right? And think like, okay, but you didn't do anything. Like, it's not you. Like, okay, well, it's the same thing. You just flip it around. It's a resistance, bro.
All right, so for
Wait. Oh, dog, can you believe it, man? Hang on, man. Just sit with that for a hot minute.
Switch.
Thanks, man.
All right, so for context, I'm anti-guns and I am a Muslim, but at least in my opinion, I do not think comparing the two statements and changing guns to Muslims is a fair comparison, because at least in my belief, I think guns is a tool and Islam is an idea. Not to say it's good or bad, but I also don't think that we should isolate a person like that on that one incident, because that incident reflects a big kind of thing behind him, because that incident is just a result of an idea by people preying on weaker people and changing them to do whatever they want. So
Yeah.
I really don't, it's not a fair comparison in
Okay,
my
listen.
opinion.
It's not an accurate. I'm not comparing apples to apples. Okay, I am definitely comparing apples to oranges. But what I'm trying to do is just tweak thinking here to get us just to do what you just did. Like, hang on a second, but let me compare these. It's a very general sense. It's like a statement that people don't even think about. Guns don't kill, people kill. Okay, well what if I say Christianity doesn't kill, violent Christians kill? That's an equal thing, right? So for the Christians in here, you say like, well, hang on a second. Okay, that makes sense. Christianity doesn't kill, violent Christians kill. But you know how many people are killing in the name of Christianity? I mean, really? I mean, come on. It's like we're a land of Christian invaders, invading the world. So it's like, yeah, I'm with you on that. I'll buy that. Sometimes I'm just trying to jumpstart people's thinking, dude. All right, man. Can you go to...
Before that, if you didn't get the attendance sheet, it's been a little confusing today, I guess. Talk to Lauren after class.
Wait, who didn't get the attendance sheet? Oh, you're the only one?
No, Sam, there's like people there, people up at the top.
Well, there it is right there, dog. You can get it.
Just make sure you sign it. If you don't, see Lauren.
All right, man. Can you go to the next slide, bro? Okay. What's the percentage? Can you just... Wait, hang on. Dude, can you go back? Is this going back to what he said, or?
No, it's just this is just a little bit of input, but the biggest advice that my parents give me every time I leave the house, every time I go to college, is you have to be careful, because everyone hates you because you're a Muslim, and you're not allowed to goof off in public, because they might think you're a terrorist, they might think that you have a bomb on you, and it's just... So, like, I'll see terrorist attacks in the news, and my first thought is, oh God, how many people died? Oh God, is the attacker Muslim? Because if it is, then more backlash to me. It's just a pain every time.
Dude. Yeah. Can you stand up real fast? What's your name?
Bilal.
What is it?
Bilal.
Bilal.
Yeah.
So, Bilal, what do you want to say? Think about, considering what I just said, about really resisting the desire to hate everybody. What do you want to say?
It's definitely hard to resist that, but like our religion teaches us to forgive and to love people, but it just can be so hard sometimes. Just when you receive all that hate from others, I understand it's hard, but it's just a part of life.
What are your parents' names?
My dad's name is Mohammed, and my mom's name is Azizunisa.
And where are you from, Pakistan?
No, my parents were born in India. I was born in Trenton.
Mm-hmm. So for them, it's every time you leave the house.
They're worried.
Uh-huh. And they're worried that?
Just anything bad could happen.
Mm-hmm. So it's like other people are worried that something bad can happen to them by somebody like you.
Me, yes.
And you and your parents are worried that something bad can happen to you just because you look like somebody else.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know, man. I think that's why that's why we really do what we do in a way. Dude, thanks for being real. I appreciate it. No problem. All right, man. Hey, can we? What's that? Yeah. Can you? I want to just. I want to. Can you just pair up? Just really fast. Can you just answer that question with somebody? What's that? Just gay or lesbian. All right, you ready? So, I don't know. I don't know what you said. So I have no idea what your answers are, but the average answer, when we ask Americans this question, the average answer is 25%. Okay? 25%. And the actual answer is 3.5. Okay? And I think, so when I think about understanding the complexities of getting along racially and ethnically, and I think about what Bilal said, your parents, how we think about Muslims around the world, or Christians, or Jews thinking about Palestinians, and Palestinians about Jews, and I think all these ideas that we have about the world and how the world is, and whether Donald Trump is right or Donald Trump is wrong, or whatever, should we kick everybody out or should we not kick people out? And I think the average answer is 25%. People don't even know that. Imagine saying 25%, 1 in 4 people. That would mean that that entire section up there is gay or lesbian. More than that, almost this entire section here would be gay or lesbian. I mean, the absurdity of it, right? The absurdity of that. And if people don't even know that, how are they going to, we're going to get them to have an educated opinion about something else? And this is, can you go to the next slide? Let me show you this. What Americans, Western Europeans, and Russians said about Muslims. This is from the Pew Center. They're fanatical. 25% report they're fanatical. So this isn't, there are lots of other things. They're just reporting, like how many people use one of these terms for them. Selfish, 35, violent, 50, 58 say fanatical. Okay? And this is Pew research. So this is really, really good research, all right? Americans, Western Europeans, and Russians. Okay? Cool? Go to the next one. What Muslims said about Americans, Western Europeans, and Russians. Fanatical. So Americans, Western Europeans, and Russians, 58% said that Muslims are fanatical, and 53% of Muslims said that. 66% said violent, whereas only 50% said it here. And selfish, 68% of Muslims say they're selfish. Look, if you turn it around, who's to say they're wrong, the Muslims are wrong, and they're right, and who's to say they're wrong and the Muslims are right? If you don't even know, if you think, if the average Americans, that Americans think the number of people who are gay or lesbian, on average, the average number that Americans will use is 25%. How can I even imagine that they could answer this question? 25%, that's just absurd. I mean, the absurdity of that. If you have 4 kids in your family, guaranteed one is gay. If you have a mother and a father and 2 kids, one of you is gay. So your father's slipping out at night with his boyfriend, or your mother is, or you will be, or you have 4 grandparents, one of them's going to be gay at some point. I mean, I don't know, like, where do you go? I mean, the absurdity of that. And so the absurdity of this. could you make a good argument that actually Muslims are more correct than the Americans, Western Europeans, or Russians? Could you make that argument, or could you not make that argument? Which one can you go with? And I think this class is about trying to put all the pieces together. Not to say one is right, one is wrong. It doesn't matter. All right? By the way, go to the next slide. Can you answer that question? Identifies as, meaning is, you know. Dude, what do you think what's your answer, by the way? 4? What's your answer? Go, give an answer. Come on, dog. I'm not going to ask you. What's your answer? Dude. Yo, what's your answer? Dude. Yo, blonde-haired dude, what's your answer? 2? Listen, man, the average answer that Americans give, the average answer, 17%. So in here, I heard everything from 2% to 15%. The average answer is, or the answer is 1%, right? So look, can we go back to the gay and lesbian community? No wonder people make the argument that gays and lesbians are going to take over. Well, of course you would think that. If you think that 25% of the population is gay or lesbian, there are all these queer pride rallies, and the gays and lesbians, they're loose, they're crazy, they're going to convert us all, right? Well, same with Muslims. The same idea. But it's 1%, y'all, 1%. I don't think it's going to change very much. Hey, okay. Can we go back to, would somebody like to respond to Bilal? Bro, can you stand up again? Would anybody like to respond to him? Would anybody like to say something? Maybe to his parents? To him? Bro, can you get her a mic? Somebody else, someone at the top. Anybody want to respond? You clapped. What'd you clap for? Did you clap? Did you clap? Why'd you clap? Here, you can hold it. Wait, what's your name?
Nellie.
Stand up. What is it?
Can I sit?
Yeah, no, you can't sit. It's you can think better if you stand. What's your name?
Nellie.
Nellie?
Yeah.
Why'd you clap?
Because it was a really real answer. I feel like you don't hear that often. Or it was a real thing to say to an entire class of people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so. Do you want to say anything to him? No. What would you like to say to him?
I think don't be afraid because God's got your back. And
Allah.
yeah, Allah. And yeah, just, I know it is scary out there. I can't imagine what you go through and what your family goes through, but just stay strong.
Dude, thanks, man. Cool. All right.
I would like to say that I've seen some videos that meant to be fun, that some American guys would dress like Muslim and they will carry a backpack and then they would just randomly drop it on the street or in someone's car and just to watch the people be freaked out and run away and supposed to be funny, but I don't feel that's funny at all. I feel like that's like not funny. It's not something that can be. I don't know how to say that, but like earlier today, I was reading the news, and in the University of Utah, there's a Chinese international student got killed in a robbery by white guys, and they didn't call it as tourists. They just say that they said that that person is violent and like it's accidental and something like that. But also the article that we were reading for the quiz last time, that they just wouldn't call a white guy tourist, but they would like immediately define that attacker as tourist just because he's a Muslim. I think there's something wrong with that, and we need to fix that.
Thanks, man. Hey, what's your name again?
Me?
Yeah.
Jenny.
Jenny. Okay, thanks. Terrorist, not tourist. Anybody else? Dude. No, I'm just clarifying. Thanks. Hey, can you give Bilal a mic also? Yes, ma'am.
This is kind of like a question for you and for you, Sam. So I kind of want to know, why is it in the United States we don't, like Donald Trump or like everyone was so quick to call this act in New York terrorism, but the event in Las Vegas, like we didn't call that terrorism. We don't want to really call that terrorism. Why are we not using the same language? What is the difference?
Listen, in my humble opinion, the problem is if you start calling all these acts of violence American terrorism that we commit here as terrorism, the guy last night in Denver who just walked in a Walmart and shot 3 people, if we start calling that, then we'll have to actually really look at our culture in a different kind of way, in a way in which we're not prepared to do. And it's easier to not feel threatened when you're just part of a culture. It's easier to look at him and say, like, hey, you're more a part of that. Who else has a question for Bilal? And then you get to respond. Yep. Thanks for standing, by the way.
I just have something to say. So, in my family, like, all my siblings
Wait,
are
dude, can you stand up?
Yeah. In my family, all my siblings are brown, and me and my mom are the only white. So like, when I, like, travel to Europe and these places, I see, like, how people treat me differently and how they treat my brothers differently. So, like, sometimes, like, when I would go to a place, like, a guy would open the door for me, and then I'd, like, see, like, why didn't he open the door, like, for my brother? And I'd see, like, people treat, like, honestly, like, I've met, like, ever since I came to America, like, the people here are incredibly nice, but I feel like I just, like, understand why your parents would say that, because, like, it exists out there. Like, there are people who are, like judge as soon, like, when I tell someone that my name is Muhammad, they just, like, they get surprised, you know, like, they start treating me not like badly differently, but like they try to be, like, overly nice, or like they treat me badly. It's like, I just wanted to say that, like, I know exactly how it feels.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, thanks, man. Dude, final question for Bilal.
I don't have a question. I just have a comment. I just want to say, it kind of breaks my heart that you were crying like that. I just
Wait, hang on. Talk right into the mic.
Sorry. Yeah, I just
Wait,
wanted
hang on.
you.
Yep.
I just wanted you to know that, like, I'm in your corner, dude. Like, we love you. Like, we're clapping for you because we feel for you, and we don't want you to feel like you should be scared or anything. Like, people like you, we love you, dude. Like, I don't ever want you to feel like you're not accepted. Like, if you ever attacked, like, people like me, I know a lot of us, we will definitely stand up for you. Like, I'm really passionate about this, and I hate for people to feel like they're attacked, because we know you're not a terrorist. We know your family's not a terrorist, dude. Don't ever feel like you should be attacked or feel left out or anything like that, because people like us, we love you, dude. We accept you.
It means a lot. Thank you.
Final words, friend.
Thank you. This all means a lot. So, I'm first generation American, so for me, it's not as troubling. It's not as troubling for me as it is my parents, as they were born in India. And so they come over here, they watch the news, and they watch like NBC or CBS or Fox, and all they see is just all this hate towards Muslims. And they see that and they tell me that, I know that you don't want to hear this, but it's for your safety. I just hope that one day we'll be able to get to a place where we won't have that for anyone.
Dude.
Anyone.
Yeah, totally. All right.